When your nightmare ends, the real terror begins. Welcome to I
Okay.
Hope You
Uh,
Suffer.
I mean, that
Hmm.
might be true. I don't know.
It's not as good as Four's fucking And If I Wake, or If I Die Before I Wake, thank you. That one
Wow, a
rules.
mood. Yeah.
This is episode 183 of I Hope You Suffer. I'm third version of Ricky.
I'm Ricky's different last name for some reason.
I'm Ricky's brain bowl.
Gross. I think that thing's gotta be cleaned a lot.
I
Absolutely.
can they even take it off safely?
It's a good question.
Do you think it's like taming the T-Rex and he just pours beer on his brain?
Oh, God, that would be so good. Just get
I
drunk immediately.
Yeah.
would love
Um,
it.
this week we are talking about 1989's Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Better watch out! Exclamation point.
Watch out. You better watch out. You
Um,
better watch out.
a movie that I do not understand.
Um,
Also, don't remember most of, I don't think.
to be fair,
It's got
I
a great
gotta,
setup.
yeah. I
And then
I feel like I feel like the premise is wacky enough because like the first two kind of I feel like follow like the second one has like a pretty logical, I guess, if you're gonna say like like follow like events happening. The third one is so wacky that I feel like it's wacky enough that it could have worked, but then it kind of just didn't, and I was
nothing
bored and
happens.
nothing happened. Like not a lot of stuff
It's
happened. So
how do you take a woman with psychic powers who needs to stop murder on a rampage, who can like see through her eyes, who has an exposed brain,
and
and
she's
just make it
blind.
like pretty goddamn boring?
And then make it boring, right? I don't know. They did it
Uh,
though.
so did the creators of Friday the 13th Part
I
7.
was gonna say, it's.
Devastating.
I feel like this is just a trope you get to at some point when your franchise keeps going and then you just botch it.
But how? How do you botch it?
I
I
don't know.
don't understand.
I feel like if you did it now, where you have, like, you could do, computer effects to do, like, cool shit, it might be a little different.
I guess, but I hate that.
We also like. I really hate this thing in like. There's just like there's not a lot of deaths, but the deaths that do happen, we like don't even see most of them. And then if we do see it, it's like very stupid and the person's like not actually dead or something. I just was like, the setup was so perfect, and then the whole movie just was like very much a letdown.
Fumbled it. Fumbled
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bag.
I watched this, like, Friday or Saturday, I forget. So, like, and then I watched, like, all five of them. So, like, at this point,
Oh my
they all
God.
just
Yeah. I
mashed together in my brain, except four, because four is barely a Christmas movie. It's like a Brian Usna Screaming Mad George collab, so it's just like
Hell yeah.
full of fucked up special effects and like Clint Howard's in it
oh
Oh,
and
dang.
perfect.
Reggie
I'm in.
Bannister. It fucking rules. And it's all
I
about
mean
like
to
a fucking like a I can't remember if they were a cult, but like it's like weird sacrifices and shit and there's like bugs and weird fucking goopy worms that look like they came out of society coming out of people and shit. It's very
dang.
strange. And then
Tight.
they just I I believe I'm under the impression that this was a movie called Initiation that they just threw Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 on to like.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's worth. It's I think out of the 5, it's the one I would probably actually rewatch because the Screaming Mad George effects are fucking cool as hell in it. 2 is basically you could just skip 1 because you could just watch 2
Honestly.
and get the entire fucking plot to 1. Well, like I watched 1 and I was like, this is okay. It's like Christmas Evil was better, but this is fine. It's just got a dude running around going naughty.
But his delivery of it is so good.
It rules.
Naughty.
It's so like
Punish.
Yeah, Punish was the other one. It's so like monotone and like bad.
It rocks so hard. I love the original.
Like when he
The soundtrack rules.
One is the one where he like throws the lady into the fucking like antlers, right?
Yeah.
Is it Linnea Quigley?
Oh, was it? I don't know.
I thought so. I could be misremembering though.
I feel like I had seen 1 before, but a lot of it wasn't familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But I was
You
like,
probably just saw 2 then.
yeah, it's a good possibility.
I mean,
I had not seen. I had only seen like whatever clips from documentaries
Garbage
and shit.
Day.
Because the Umbrella Kill in that movie way better than the Garbage Day part.
Yeah, so this is why I was a little confused going into this one because we have somebody different playing like Ricky. And I was like, I've seen both of I've only seen like the first 2 and it has been a while since I've seen them, aside from like you said, clips and GIFs that get like shared all the time and like the things that get referenced from them. But so I was like a little confused in the beginning because I was like, Ricky, like the killer in this is Ricky, but it is supposed to be the same guy from 2, right? He's just
yeah.
Okay. But it's played by a different person, also obviously. So I was a little confused as far as that went. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much.
This is a fucking weird movie.
Yeah. Any other initial thoughts before we dive in? I do not have that. This movie, there's not a lot to it, so this will be quick.
My initial thought is we should have watched the director Monty Hellman's movie Iguana instead.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The poster.
That sounds right up my alley.
It's incredible. It's a grotesquely disfigured harpooner called Iguana is severely mistreated by his fellow sailors on a whaling ship in the 19th century.
That is not what I thought that was going to be, but I'm still in.
One night, he escapes and takes up residence on a remote island. He makes himself ruler of the island and declares war on mankind. Anyone unfortunate enough to wind up on the island with Iguana is subject to his cruel tyranny.
Oh, sure. Poor Iguana. Wow. Well, how do we talk about this movie after that?
Let's just not.
I do have to say again, aside from the fact that we have a killer that's called the Santa Claus Killer, and this takes place on Christmas Eve, this movie is not very Christmassy. Because they don't even you don't even have Ricky walking around in like a Santa outfit either. So like, I do assume that all the movies get like less and less Christmassy.
5 is about a guy turning people into toys or some shit. So
I was gonna say the cover to 5 had like a little boy with scary looking toys. So I felt like maybe we were veering back up, but I don't know. Maybe I will watch all of them. We'll see.
By the time I got like through 4 and into 5, I was just like, I'm not paying attention to this now. I'm done. 4 was like a high note, and I was just like, I finished 5, but I didn't fully pay like a super detailed attention to, and I'm not even gonna bother with the remake of the first one.
Yeah.
There's also a second remake coming, because why not?
Oh, I did see that. Good. Well.
Go ahead and give me a
okay.
third. Let's
No,
go.
see,
Let's roll.
this is the thing, and like, Katie and I were talking about it for something we're doing on the Patreon, so keep an eye out the week of Christmas. Was
Keep a peeker.
the movie Don't Open? Was it called Don't Open Till Christmas? The fuck was that movie called that we were going to be doing?
Yeah, Don't Open
Was
Till
that
Christmas.
the one that was like about someone killing Santa Clauses? I forget.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like enough movies of some weirdo in a Santa Claus outfit killing people. Give me more movies about somebody killing off Santa Clauses.
Or
Yeah.
elves.
Yeah. Someone killing off elves.
An elf serial killer. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's so essentially like I said in the last episode, I was really trying to like watch a lot more Christmas horror that I hadn't been able to just like, I don't know, the season is like insane for me, right? So I just hadn't, there's a lot I hadn't seen, like what is that one called? A Christmas Horror Story. I haven't seen that. And of course it's like not streaming anywhere that I can watch it this year. But again and again, when I'm like trying to pick movies to watch, it's just always like a crazy escaped convict dressed as Santa killing people. And I'm like, honestly, there's so much more to like the lore that we could be doing that I'm just like so over like a Santa Claus killer at this point. Can we just like do something new?
Escape convict dressed as Krampus.
It should
Or
be
escape convict dressed
There you
as
go.
Toy.
a shark
Yeah, there you go.
dressed as an escaped convict killing people on Christmas.
Dressed
An
as
escaped
Santa Claus.
convict
Yes.
dressed as a sugar plum fairy killing people. I am here for that.
Or just like Barry Bostwick as Santa with a bunch of YouTubers.
Rob Zombie's Christmas.
No,
Yeah.
no.
With
We
No,
don't-
Katie, this is what you wanted.
Bill,
No,
You needed
we
something new.
We don't need to bring his name into this
Bill
conversation.
Moseley as Santa calling people white trash. No.
Bill Moseley as
Sherry Moon
Santa.
Zombie as Santa.
Okay, all right.
Bill Moseley
I'm
as
here.
the reindeer.
I'll. Okay. All right.
Yes,
yeah.
the ghost of
Okay.
Sid Haig as the head elf.
The ghost of Michael McDowell as Mrs. Claus.
Well, okay, that's enough. I'm
We're gonna
in.
come up with at least two more
Write
by
it
the
up.
end of this episode.
Okay, so let's start this.
The ghost of Matthew McGorry as Krampus, I guess. He was tall.
The ghost of Paul Walker as a Santa Claus T-Rex.
And Paul Giamatti as Frosty the Snowman.
Okay.
And Rob Zombie as himself.
No,
Yeah,
why?
Rob
Don't
Zombie's
bring
just his band is playing in the North Pole.
himself. Okay. That's okay. I need what? I can't. Let's move on.
Rob Zombie, I got $20 to get this movie made. Get
I'll buy it.
Get us
I'll
up.
throw in $20.
Yeah.
He's gonna slide it in the DMs. I'll take it, brother. All right. So, Kit, why did you pick this movie? Just because of the brain plate, the brain bowl?
I had always been curious about it because it was a psychic battling Bill Moseley with a weird exposed brain bowl thing on his head. So it seemed like it was going to be really weird.
Yeah, it's such
And
a
fun,
good
and it was-
premise.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really
honestly, yeah.
was not either of those things, which is
No.
sad.
We could have done Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys because that takes place on Christmas Eve.
God damn it, it does.
Oh,
Fuck, that movie rules.
no.
Or Maniac
Okay.
Cop 2, apparently.
Oh, yep.
See, that's the thing that's like hard because like when you search like Christmas horror or something on like a platform, some of them are like nuanced stuff does not come up if it doesn't have like Christmas or something in the title. So I don't know. I didn't check on Letterboxd. Maybe there was like a
That's
list,
what I
a
always
better
do. I
list or
always look at the
something.
list. I
Yeah.
find somebody that has like a huge list, and then I'll just like dig through it.
Because again, like we said, this movie is like takes place on Christmas Eve, and previously the killer was the Santa Claus killer, but like there's not really much Christmas in this movie except for. Anyways, let's just get into it. Okay. Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. I don't feel like you need to have watched the first two to listen to us talk about this movie because
Just know that the guy that says Garbage Day is now Bill Moseley.
Yeah,
you're
there you
caught
go.
up.
You're caught up.
that's all you need to know.
Oh,
So
shit, we could've
It,
basically,
it gives you flashbacks from the first one, still, just like the
right.
second one did.
yes.
Yeah, at least half of 2 is the first movie, and about a third of 3 is the first movie.
Yeah.
I told you they get their money's worth out of
I hope
that
these
first movie.
People in that
But 4
first
and
movie
5
got
don't-
fucking paid for all this shit.
I mean, honestly. Also, I think it's Fright Rags maybe has like so much Silent Night, Deadly Night like merch, like specifically this year too. I'm like, I hope there's some fat paychecks coming in.
I doubt
There's like
it.
a coloring book, I think. Yeah. Okay, so basically, this movie opens with a girl who is sleeping in a white room, and a man whispers, "Laura." She wakes up and is like, what the fuck? What's going on? And there's a man in a hospital bed in the room. He is missing his scalp.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, so like he basically has a plastic bowl on his head, but then there's like a silver disc around it, so it's like connecting the bowl to like his skin, so like his brain's just, you can look in it, you can see it. Not really sure why, but here we are. Also, he's got a scar on his face. He wakes up and tries to stab her with a scalpel, and she runs away. But everything is weird. It's like everything is completely white, and she's like running through the hallway, and like the doors are locked and shit. And she's like, it's like abandoned and stuff. He pops out and like cuts her arm open with a scalpel, and she's like, I had to say, I liked this actress. Also, all the outfits in this movie are banging. They're so good. Her scream is pretty annoying though, and she screams a lot. Like, it's not a good scream. It's like a fake scream. You know what I mean? Like, it's acting.
I mean,
That's what I was gonna
You know
say.
what
It's like,
you know
it's
what I'm
acting,
trying to
Katie.
say? Like, it's like you can tell it's like not.
I
It's
don't
like
know. What
somebody
if-
was like, okay,
what if they were doing
She's
this
not
stuff to
really
her for
running from
real?
Bill Moseley.
What if they actually cut off the top of Bill Moseley's head? Wait,
You know, it'd be great if, like-
in comparison to Texas Chainsaw 2.
yeah, it'd be great if like they didn't tell her what he was gonna look like, and she just saw him, and he was like boogity boogity, and she was like, oh my, like that would be pretty scary. Yeah.
Okay, so hear me out.
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw 2 came out 3 years before this. So what if Bill Moseley is method and just slowly just cut off the half part of the top of his head, and that plate is just
The other half.
yeah, and then he was just like, fuck it, why not just go all the way? Let's remove the plate from the one side. Just do the rest, put that fucking bowl on.
Listen, utmost respect.
I can't say I've ever actually seen the top of Bill Moseley's head without hair on it. Maybe that's a wig.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would like to expose my brain.
Don't you do
Let's
that?
do it.
And maybe some germs will get in there and I'll get an infection and die.
Oh yeah.
Subscribe to our Patreon so we can replace the top of Kid's head with a plastic bowl. Thank you.
If we
Yes,
get to
please.
if we get to 100 a month, Kit and I will cut the top of our heads off.
Yes.
And I will do
Deal.
the surgery. All right.
We just need that $100 to pay for painkillers.
Yeah. It'll take a couple of months for me to get $100 to like get a flight to both of those places, but we'll make it work. We'll be fine.
I bet I can steal both.
I'll come there. I feel like if you die in Florida, it's basically just purgatory anyway. So
I You know, it's like so funny. Before we started recording, like originally Nathan and I were talking and I like moved something on a shelf and he was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just moving the saw, a bone saw."
Yeah, see,
So I
you're
have
already you're
I
ready to
have
go.
I am already there. I have one. So you come to me. We'll make it happen. It is Christmas. All right. He cut her arm. She is like, ah, and she runs away. And then she rounds a corner and she sees a Santa Claus. Oh, wait, no. First, she sees him in a room covered with blood. And he's like, Sarah. Wait, her name's Laura. Again.
He got confused.
Santa, Sarah, that's pretty much the same thing, you know.
Sarah Claus.
Yeah. She sees him like covered in blood and shit, and she's like, ah, and she runs away again. Then she sees the Santa, and she's like, help me, I need help. And he's like, oh yeah, come back here. And so she follows him around the corner, and there's like a whole Santa display with like a Santa throne and presents and like a tree and stuff. And she goes and sits on Santa's lap, and she's like, I want a Barbie and a bike, and she like starts asking for presents and shit. And then the Santa like raises a knife and she screams and she wakes up. She's doing some kind of sleep study thing, and also she's blind. The doctor
Got a lot going
is
on.
like, she does, yeah. The doctor is basically like, what did you see? Like, what was your dream? And she's basically just like, oh, I had a dream that I could see in it, which to me sounds fucking terrible. Like, all the shit she's dealing with, like having trauma and being blind and also psychic sounds like a lot going on. But she had a dream that she could see, and she just tells him that she sees Santa, and he's like, oh, like, well, what else did you see? And she's like, I don't know, just Santa, haha. So he like talks to his tape recorder, and he's like, he says that he thinks that she made contact. And at this point, we don't know what that means, but basically, yeah. So then we see like a flat. She goes to sleep again. We see basically a scene from, I guess it's the first one, right? Where there's a Santa Claus broken down in the middle of the road, and a family pulls up and is like, hey, do you need help? And he like pulls a gun on them. There's like a small child in there. She wakes up again, and she's like, oh yeah, I just saw Santa again. And he's like, okay, I think that she made contact with the coma victim. And she's just,
Dun, dun, dun.
so like, yeah. So he is like, basically like, yeah, I think that she's making contact with this victim, but I don't think that she's telling me about it because like she's denying the psychic powers that she has. Like, she has these powers and she's pretending she doesn't have them. And then he's like, okay, why don't we try one more time? And he's just like, yeah, go back to sleep. This bitch just falls asleep. Could you imagine being able to just like close your eyes and fall asleep? She does it 3
Must be
times in a
nice.
row, right?
Takes me like 4 hours to fall asleep. That's just, I'll take
That's what I'm
3 hours.
saying. What the fuck? I would take these weird coma patient dreams over. Like, she just literally just like nods off, and I'm like, who?
I was like, this episode
Wow.
is now. It went from Kit and I just being like, yeah, we're ready to die, to being in a coma sounds pretty good.
Sounds restful.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. So basically, we see the rest of the dream, which is again just the like the scene from the first movie where, the little boy basically just like watches the Santa like kill his parents and shit. I don't think they show the whole scene though, but like we get the drift, right? So then we find out, we like zoom in on the coma patient and his tag or whatever, and we find out that it's Richard Caldwell, and it says coma patient. And yeah, Richard Ricky Caldwell. Laura wakes up again, and she still is like not really actually telling the doctor like what her dreams are, which kind of seems like to defeat the purpose of her doing it, because it's a dream study, and the doctor's like trying to see if she can connect with Ricky, but she's like not actually telling him what the dreams are. So like, why is she even participating in it if she's not gonna like be honest about it? I don't know.
This movie should have been she accidentally resurrected dead Ricky with her psychic powers.
Yeah, she was like a necromancer. That would have been sick.
Isn't that what happens
Well,
in the Friday the 13th?
Uh,
It's been a while
I
since
think
I watched
so.
that one.
I don't think I've seen it, but that sounds like something that would happen. So, yeah, the doctor is saying, so basically Laura is just like, okay, well, I'm going, it's Christmas Eve. Like, I think that's why I'm dreaming about Santa. Like, no big deal. I'm going to go to my brother's going to come pick me up and we're going to go to my grandma's cabin for Christmas or whatever. And then Laura tells the doctor that she doesn't know if she wants to do the study anymore, like after the holidays. And he kind of like talks down to her. He's like, oh, I understand. It takes a really strong person to be able to do this. And like, I get it if you're not up to it. And then she's like, we'll talk about it when I get back or whatever. And then he like says to like, Laura leaves. And then the doctor says to the nurse something about like, oh, I think she's connecting with him and like seeing his like past or whatever, but she's just playing little girl games. Like, fuck you, bro. But then he also says that her quote unquote her soul, her body may be young, but her soul is old, and also she loves doing the experiments, and she'll be back for sure because she wants to see what's deep in his mind. And I was like, okay, sure, I guess. Also, they close up on Ricky, and he's got one drop of tear coming out of his eye because he's reliving his traumatic childhood.
He seemed to be like enjoying talking about it in the like the previous movie. Now
I would
he's
agree.
like super sad.
Yeah, well, he's in a coma and he can't kill people, which is his passion. So
Yeah,
that's why
fair.
he's sad. So then Laura goes out to the the receptionist desks and is like, "Hey, can you let me know when my brother shows up?" And the fucking lady is like, "I'm busy." And she's like, "Okay, well, can you let me know if you see a red Jeep?" Like, this girl is blind. Like, you can't help her out and tell her when her brother is there. And Laura calls her a bitch, which I agree. So Laura just like sits on the bench for a while. And then she like eventually gets back up to talk to the attendant, and she's like, hello, hello. And the attendant's like not answering her because the attendant is dead. And Laura's like, ah, and she screams again. But then Laura's brother Chris wakes her up, and it was just a dream.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, I tuned out for a while until like the end.
Until about the last like
Don't
20
worry.
minutes.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
guys, I got you.
And even that was like, oh, Bill Moseley's like walking real slow and not doing a good job murdering anyone.
He just woke up from a coma.
No excuse.
Yeah, no excuses.
You said murder was his
So-
passion. He needs to show it.
That's true. It's true. That's true. He drives a car, so I feel like he could probably walk, you know? I don't know. Yeah, so Chris wakes her up and is just like, Laura, let's go. And then the lady, the attendant, receptionist is like, Merry Christmas. And she goes, not for you. And I was like, you tell her, bitch. There's also, so this part to me, okay. So there's like a fucking gross Santa that's walking around. Like he asks one of the nurses if, he says something like, little girl, would you like to lick my candy cane or some shit like that?
Is there such a thing as a not gross Santa?
No. And that's my point. Like, I don't understand. All of these Christmas movies really bank on just like the fucking grossest dudes saying shit. And I'm just like, God,
Like,
can we?
I feel like, you know, like probably around the time like Christmas Evil came out, like early 80s, I think. Like, because I think that was like one of the first ones where somebody was like, well, what if Santa was a killer or whatever? And like, you
Yeah.
know, back then, that was like progressive and like pushing shit or whatever. And now it's like they just, like, I don't like, it's not interesting.
It's like almost it's like mostly it's like a trope at this point. Like you take something that's like supposed to be like happy and like, for lack of a better term, pure or whatever, and make it fucking like grotesque or whatever.
What it should be is it should be everyone in the movie is a Santa except the killer. Just like the detectives coming to see what's going on. It's just fucking they all have to wear a Santa suit.
Every single person in the movie. So this is the part that like I thought was okay, so there's a gross Santa. He at the hospital, I assume to like give gifts, I don't know. He wanders into Ricky's room, which I would hope if somebody was in a private room by themselves because they were in a coma, not just anybody could like wander into the room, but like I know that's naive of me to think that. But this Santa just like goes into the room, and like for anybody who hasn't seen like the first two, well, I guess specifically the first movie, is his name Billy?
His brother, like in the killer in the first movie,
like the killer, yeah.
I think so.
Either way,
like, that is.
Yeah.
The thing with Billy and Ricky is that they're like kind of triggered by like things related to Christmas. So Ricky has been like in a coma in this room just by himself, like not doing anything, and then suddenly a Santa comes in. So he's like triggered by things that are red or things that are Christmassy.
Real quick, do they explain at the beginning of this why he's in this like sort of catatonic state or whatever?
They explain it later.
Oh, I couldn't remember if they explained it in the movie or not, because I definitely
they
missed
do.
It.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, the Santa's in there being like a fucking drunk and is like making fun of Ricky. I didn't write anything specific down, but he's like making basically like coma patient jokes, and he's like drinking or whatever, and that kind of like triggers Ricky. He wakes up, and I assume he kills the Santa. We don't actually see it. It like zooms in on the Santa screaming and cuts away. And at this point I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like Ricky's going to steal the Santa suit and we're going to like be doing the Santa thing again. But he doesn't at all. He's just wearing like, okay, so we're about to get to my favorite part. So yeah, he kills the Santa. He's awake. Laura is now like poor fucking Laura is like doing this sleep study and then immediately has to go to like talk to her therapist. And so essentially we find out that the reason that she is blind is because she was in a plane crash where her parents died, and like now she's psychic also.
Yeah.
So
it works.
okay.
That's how all the X-Men got their powers.
Essentially, yeah. So there's like some talk between her and her therapist about like group thought and extrasensory perception, which is ESP. And he's basically like talking about how she's angry about being blind and she needs to like let go of the anger and let other people help her, even if she doesn't actually think she needs the help, blah, blah, blah. And she's essentially just like, okay, like that's fine, but also like I don't want to see weird stuff anymore. She like tells the therapist about like the weird like Ricky dream she was having essentially, and she was like, I don't want to see weird stuff anymore. I want to be normal. And then the therapist like turns around in his chair and is like, nobody's normal or something like that, and it's actually Ricky, which was I don't know. I guess she fell asleep. I don't know. Because meanwhile at the hospital, Ricky is like walking out. He kills the receptionist in the same way that Laura dreamt. But again, we don't really see it. So he like slashes her neck with a letter opener. We only really see her like dead after. So not great.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Then Laura's brother Chris introduces her to his girlfriend, who I think is named Jerry, but I just called girlfriend the whole time. And Laura is like rude to her and like makes some kind of like snide comments or whatever. And so they're gonna drive to grandma's cabin for Christmas, and Ricky is like in the parking lot and he can like, I guess ESP hear Laura like tell them where like the directions to get to the grandma's house or whatever, so he just like knows. And he's just like walking. There's like this shot of him walking like towards the freeway that they're taking, wearing his fucking hospital gown. And it just like cracked me up. Then there's just like some kind of like banter between Chris's girlfriend and Laura that's like sort of rude actually. She's like asking her how long she's been blind and stuff, which like mind your own business. Laura falls asleep in the car and has some visions. I don't really understand what my note is, but I think it's another. Oh, okay. So she has a vision of the scene where, like, I think it's Billy as Santa Claus walks to like the school or like the orphanage or whatever where Ricky was as a child and gets like shot by that police officer. So like all of the kids see like quote unquote Santa being shot.
Janitor or whatever.
Yeah. And my favorite scene in the entire fucking movie, Ricky, who is standing there in a fucking nightgown with like a plastic see-through bucket on his head with his brain exposed. It's just like fucking hitchhiking on the side of the street. And somebody picks him up. And they're just like, hey, bro, hop on in.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick him up. He seemed like a
plastic brain bucket. Like, what the fuck? And I don't know.
He clearly needs help.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, yeah, he really does. But this person is braver than I. But the image of him just like standing there with his thumb up on the side of the road, just like it just cracked me up. I couldn't stand it.
I'd pick him up and just be like, bro, what's with the bowl?
How do I get one? Just wondering.
Yeah.
So
Give me a bowl.
The guy picks him up and is like kind of talking to him like, hey, what happened? Did you get brain surgery or something? And it kind of just like hard cuts to the guy being dead on the side of the road and I guess and Ricky like stealing the van.
The end.
I feel like
Over.
I feel like there was also a scene of Ricky like killing a gas station attendant, but we didn't really see it happen, and I just didn't write it down because then Laura and her brother.
I feel like a lot of this movie is people just dying off screen.
It is, yeah.
Just why bother then? Like I don't know why.
That's what I'm saying. Hello.
Hi.
Cat's back. Hi, Cat.
That cat. What's his opinion on?
What do you think about Silent Night?
Bowl on its head.
Oh my god. Okay, so one of our actual cats is inside the glass door, and the other cat just like lunged at the glass at him. It's a turf war. Listen, he lives here. You don't, bro. I didn't know this would be my. I didn't. Okay. Well,
like two weeks in a row.
People are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Yeah, I wasn't expecting this kind of situation to happen from recording in the garage, but here we are. Life's mysteries. So, Laura and them pull up to a gas station and call the grandma. The grandma is basically just like, "Oh goodness, I ran out of butter. Can you get me some?" And yeah, they're like, "Yeah, grandma, for sure. Anything for grandma."
Yeah, it's a butter emergency.
Butter emergency. And then randomly we see like the gas station attendant's head on a desk. But like I don't think it's the same gas station that Laura and her brother are at, so that's why I was like really confused about this situation. After grandma hangs up the phone, so the doorbell rings And guess who it is?
Bullhead.
Squidward.
It is fucking Bullhead Squidward Ricky. And I'm really confused how he got there so fast because she just got off the phone with Laura or with Chris where she said, okay, see you in an hour. And then Ricky's just like fucking there, even though he walked like down the side of the road for God knows how long. Like, how did he get there so fast? I don't know.
Wish this movie was like, it was just the same movie, Bill Moseley looking the way he did, but they just like had him talk and it was just the voice of Squidward.
Laura. I can't really do Squidward, but
that's close.
Okay, good. Also, another one of my favorite scenes is Ricky. I guess like the whole point of him killing that gas station attendant is that he stole the guy's clothes. So now he's not wearing like a hospital gown anymore. He's wearing like a gas station, like, you know, one of those like button up suits or whatever. He's also got the guy's like beanie pulled over his like plastic bucket head, but you can still see like
the
see
metal
it.
rim.
Yeah. So like, and Grandma's just like, come on in, have some dinner. And I'm like, girl, no, something's obviously wrong with this guy. It's hilarious. So meanwhile, we get a little scene at the hospital where a cop is talking to the doctor about Ricky. And this is where the doctor explains, like, because the cop, I don't remember, was this guy actually in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2?
I don't know. I don't remember this part.
So he essentially is just like, how is this guy still alive? We like shot the shit out of him before. And like, essentially the doctor's just like, oh yeah, well, we were able to like, basically they were able to like save him in this like weird state where like half of his face, he doesn't have like feeling or nerves in it or whatever, but they were able to like rebuild his brain to give him like motor function and shit. But like, he's been in a coma. And the cop is like, oh, that's not great. Obviously he killed all these people, and the doctor's like, innocent until proven guilty. And then the cop was like, well, actually we have surveillance of him killing this lady. And this is when we see like surveillance of like Ricky killing the the nurse and saying Laura's name. And so basically the doctor is just like, oh yeah, she's been doing this like study or whatever, and the cat just jumped up in my lap on my notes. I don't know you.
Read the notes for you.
Who are you? Hello. Okay, excuse me. This is very strange. The doctor says that Laura touched his soul, which made me laugh. And essentially, like, they know that he's going to go try and find Laura, and so they're going to, like, follow the killings, basically, to find her. Ricky sees a picture of Laura, like, in the grandma's house, and everything seems, like, pretty normal. But then the grandma makes the mistake of, like, trying to give Ricky a Christmas gift. And she's like, Merry Christmas! And then he, like, fucking snaps and kills her.
That's how I react to gifts.
Honestly, I mean, I know I love gifts. That's how I react if you don't give me a gift. I'll murder you.
If you ever see me and you don't have
off
a gift
camera. You
Time to die.
Run, yeah. So, Laura, Chris, and the girlfriend get to the grandma's house and like can't find her. And Laura is like, I'm psychic and I know that something is wrong because this chair has been moved from where it normally is or some shit. And Chris and like his girlfriend are just like, oh no, it's fine. She probably went to get the butter, which we forgot to get. Haha. And even though like the grandma has like food on the burner and like a turkey in the oven and stuff, like he doesn't think anything's weird, which is like very strange. Then also Laura has like a vision of the grandma or something, which seemed out of place and was not explained at all. And then it just is like a cut to like Chris and his girlfriend taking a bath together for some reason. I was kind of expecting them to get murdered at this point, but they didn't. So it kind of just seemed unnecessary, except for like they wanted boobs in it. I don't know. So between this point, we switch between like grandma's house and like the doctor and the cop talking to each other in the car. So the doctor's remembering, like telling the cop that he remembers Laura say that she was going to her grandma's house in Peru, wherever that is, and also that her grandma has a lot of oranges. So the cop calls the dispatch to be like, hey, look up all the orange farmers in the area. So that's how they're going to find her. Chris and the girlfriend come back down and are like, wow, grandma's still not here. That's weird. Let's go for a walk. So they'll like go for a walk and like check. They have these like houses on their property where like the people who pick the oranges stay sometimes. So they're like checking the property or whatever. And Laura is just like sitting inside listening to a movie. Because as we said, she's blind. Then also there's like this weird scene where like the cop is trying to talk the doctor into buying like a cell phone, which was like very strange. And then the cop says, do you know what they call it when you get deja vu twice? And then the doctor answers like with like a scientific term, and he's like, stupid. And then he laughs really hard. And I was like, what? What the fuck does that mean? I was like, okay, we really didn't need this scene.
Disagree.
Chris tells Laura, like, basically they have like a heart to heart, and he's like, stop being so mean to my girlfriend. She's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, it's fine. You just need to learn how to trust people more. And so they're gonna all go look for the grandma in the town. Or Chris and the girlfriend are like, we're gonna go look for grandma, see if she's buying butter or whatever. But then they find out that Chris's car is missing. This scene is strange because Laura is like walking around, I assume using psychic powers, I guess, because she like slams herself into the window, and that's where we see Ricky. And she screams, even though she can't actually see that he's like there. And then Chris and his girlfriend come back in the front door and are like, hey, we're not going anywhere. We found the car and it's upside down in an orange field or whatever. And then they're like, okay, this is really weird. Like, let's call the cops. So they try, but the phone is dead. And Laura notices that the picture of her on the mantle is missing. Then Laura tells them about Ricky. Essentially, she's like, I can feel him. He's coming for me. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then Ricky just like literally busts his hand through their front door and like grabs the girlfriend and starts like choking her out or whatever. And they're like screaming. Chris gets a knife from the kitchen and stabs him in the arm. It is kind of weird because it makes like no noise or anything. He just like stabs him and it's just like silent. It was strange.
Yeah, why spend money on sound effects?
I guess so. Then he like busts his other fist through the door so that he can like take the knife out of his arm. Then he just like leaves. So that was kind of weird. There's some more stuff. Oh, this was really strange. The doctor is like talking to the cop about how like, oh, it was my fault. Like I should have let him sleep. And then he's like talking about how Ricky is the answer to stop people from killing and that science is a way to make everyone innocent. And I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. But then the cop is just like, gotta drain the lizard. So he pulls over to pee, even though they full well know that they're like on the way to try and beat Ricky to murdering these people. And the cop's just like, I gotta pee. Like for real.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Guess so. But then the doctor just like steals his car. So joke's on you.
Should have peed in his car.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. He should have just like flopped it out the window. You know, would have been fine. Chris finds Grandpa's gun and they go outside. They're like looking around. Then Ricky just like drops down from a tree and throws Chris and like takes his gun. They like struggle a little bit, and then Ricky ends up stabbing Chris. Also, I noticed, I don't remember if this was true at the beginning, but there's like blood sloshing around in his head bowl at this point. And I was like, that can't be good, right? Or is it? Does there need to be blood there? I don't know what's going on.
Probably fine.
There's just a lot
Probably
of blood.
fine.
There's like an alarming amount of blood in there right now.
It just lubricates the brain for thoughts.
Yeah.
I think that's true, but I just like didn't notice there being blood in there before. Because it can't just be dry up there, right? Like, that's probably bad. I don't know. He needs a beer up there is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The doctor pulls up and sees Ricky like having stabbed Chris. And the girls have like run away at this point. The doctor uses a recording of like Laura during the sleep study to like get Ricky's attention. I don't really know what his plan was, but Ricky literally just walks up and like stabs him in the stomach. So
He doesn't have like as many like interesting kills in this as he did in 2.
There's like no interesting ones in my opinion.
Single umbrella, the whole movie.
No. Laura and the girlfriend go inside and like barricade the front door, but Ricky just literally like busts in through like a back door instead. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think about that, did you? The girlfriend, they run upstairs basically, and the girlfriend's like, oh, Laura's like, oh, my grandfather has another gun under the bed. And Laura's like, or girlfriend is like, okay, stay here, I'm gonna go get it. So she goes to get the other gun, but as soon as she like reaches under the bed, she just gets like pulled under. So Laura ends up like walking into the other bedroom and like sits on the bed next to like the dead girlfriend and is like, Ricky, I know you're here. Sorry, hold on a second.
What's happening?
Great question. Maybe the cat got her.
Ricky's there.
Okay, sorry, my AirPods just like died.
He's getting a bowl in her head.
Yeah, I'm mid operation, so sorry. Like they needed to disconnect some stuff to like I'm good now. Yeah, so she's basically like talking to Ricky and she's like, I know you're here. She like walks up to him and like touches his face, but then when she like feels the like metal like connecting thing, she like screams and like runs and shuts herself in the bathroom. He is like banging on the door. She just like casually at this point like walks out of the bathroom and just sort of just like slowly walks around the house, and he's like banging on the door and shit, and it was like kind of anticlimactic. She just like slowly walks into the basement. She's like feeling around and she feels a rat and screams, so he like hears her and like comes down to the basement. Ghost grandma shows up and is basically like talking to her about like not being afraid to use her powers, and if she uses her powers that it'll save her and shit. And Laura ends up like finding her grandma's body finally, and she screams and like falls over. Ricky comes down, and she like busts the light bulb that's hanging from the ceiling, and she's just like, welcome to my world. Like her intention is that she's gonna break the light bulb so that it's pitch black, so like he can't see either. But the light from the stairs is pretty bright. Like it's pretty bright in there. You can definitely very easily see everything. I mean, I guess she wouldn't know that, but he immediately grabs her after she's like, welcome to my world, and they like struggle and shit. Then her brother Chris shows up and says, hey, Bubblehead, is it live or is it Memorex? And I did not understand that joke.
That's like the tagline from Memorex in the 80s.
But like, why?
Why was it the tagline, or why does he say it?
Why does he say it?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I can't tell you the reason behind anything in this movie.
I just like didn't. I tried very hard to understand the joke, and I just like didn't get it. Chris like blasts him with a shotgun, but he immediately gets back up and just like chokes him out with the barrel of the gun. So, R.I.P. for real, I think. Laura is like laying in a corner, and she just is like, "Ricky, I'm over here. Come over here." And she's basically, she had like a stick that like got broken in half and she was struggling with him. So she's got the stick. Ricky comes over and just like very barely slightly leans over to grab her, but somehow impales himself on the broken stick. I don't physically understand how that happened. But
Psychic powers.
I guess.
It's the answer to everything in this movie.
Like, essentially, the police arrive. I wrote, "Oh, the doctor is alive too. Oh, never mind." So the doctor basically, like, the cop finds him and he's like, "Don't be stupid." And then he, like, dies. And I was like, oh, well. Then they're loading somebody into an ambulance and they're like, "Oh, we might be able to save him." So I don't know if that was supposed to be Chris or if that was supposed to be Ricky because he was completely covered in a blanket. We don't know. And then like the cop gets Laura and puts her in his car and it says, "I don't know how you did it, but I guess there's a lot of things I don't know." And then Laura looks out the window and says, "Merry Christmas." And then there's just like a floating image of Ricky in a tuxedo and he says, "And a Happy New Year." And then that's the end.
What an ending.
Amazing.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, nothing about this movie makes sense or
No.
should have happened except Bill Moseley having a bowl on his head.
I mean, that's why I'm saying the premise is extremely wacky. He looks insane. It was like such a good setup for literally almost nothing to happen. No cool kills. And then like the ending was he leaned over slightly onto a stick and got stabbed. Like, I thought I missed it. I literally backed it up twice because I was like, did I miss him? Did she trip him or something? No, he literally just like leaned down to grab her and got and was just impaled suddenly. I was like, okay,
look,
sure.
It can't all just be brutal stabbings and decapitations. Every once in a while, just accidentally cut yourself on a stick.
Yeah,
I would have
on a stick.
I would have liked at least one in this movie, though.
Nah. You got a stick. Impalement. That's all you're getting.
We didn't see it even. Anyways. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, not great.
No, I feel like
definitely seen worse, but
yeah, like I mean, it wasn't like the acting was fine. Like it was fine. It was just kind of extremely boring and also like didn't totally make sense.
Yeah. That's what I
pretty much.
Yep.
This movie. There's a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie coming out.
Like
I'm all in on Leatherface hiding out as a good person for 50 years.
I knew it was going to end up being like Fear Street or some shit. Like the cast just does not. I don't know.
Is this like an even newer remake than the one we already knew about?
It's the one coming to Netflix. I don't know, sometime early 2022.
Oh.
I apparently like Legendary did like test screenings on it and was just like, well, this is failing miserably. We'll just dump it on Netflix. So.
I mean, that works. Everything else on Netflix is dog shit and everyone loves it. So.
Yes. Good point.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Same.
Jeez.
Big same.
Merlin came up to the glass,
Wow.
and this cat does not like Merlin. That's my son. Don't talk to him like that. Sorry.
Rude.
Oh my god. He does not like Texas. Well, there's his opinion on Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, it's same.
Hey, knock it off. Oh my god. Leave him alone. You're not even my cat. I don't even know you. Sir. Go on.
What's that thing over there?
He's just looking through. So I'm in the garage, and there's like a sliding glass door into the house, into this like room that we're renovating, and the cats love to be in there, of course, because it's like filthy. It's a room being renovated. And this other cat is in here at the glass door staring at Merlin, just making those noises. Merlin's just staring at him, like very not bothered. And this cat is pissed off. Sorry.
It's
Continue.
Yeah.
Strong opinions on Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake here.
The only good
in Florida.
The only good news is Alligator 2 Blu-ray's coming from Scream Factory.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Finally. Let's see. Since I guess we did all of our watch stuff the last episode. Anybody got any different shout outs for this episode?
Shout out feeding a bunch of stray cats so that you become the cat house, and so cats always show up and try and fight your children.
Kid, is that your shout out too?
I had a real one and I forgot what it was. So I'm going to say orangutans. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're very lazy.
No.
Lazy apes.
Feed them so they show up at your house.
We respect.
No,
We respect the orangutan.
I don't.
Dr. Zayas, my man.
Dr. Zayas. I don't know. I started listening to the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast, and it's pretty funny.
Oh,
Does it have orangutan?
I don't know. I've only listened to 2 episodes so far.
There's plenty of
I
time.
don't
Then.
think they've gotten to the gang gets primate.
An
yet.
orangutan.
is it like people from the show
Yeah,
doing
like
it, or it's just
the
like
3 main guys that like created it, but like they really don't even talk about the show. They just kind of like the first episode. There's a lot of talk about like one of the dudes just ate a bunch of queso and has a stomach ache. So that's like most of the first episode.
I can relate to
Amazing.
that.
It's pretty funny. He's like talking
I've
about
seen-
how he's got like this stomach ache, and they're like, "What'd you eat for breakfast?" He's like, "Nothing." He's like, "I didn't have breakfast. I waited till we had lunch." And they're like, "Did you have coffee?" He's like, "Yeah, I had a lot of coffee this morning." And they're just like, "Yeah, that explains it."
Oh, now he's being mean to my daughter.
That is
Oh my
losing
God.
his mind. Holy shit.
Hey,
Wow.
he just lunged at it. I'm glad that you guys are getting this on camera or on recording.
Oh, I got it on camera.
Like, sorry for everyone listening, but like, this is wild. This is Florida, baby.
You know, I'm putting
Florida cat.
Florida
Florida cat strikes.
Florida cat as the guest of this episode.
He is freaking the fuck out.
All right.
Actually,
You
I
should
do
make
have
him
a-
eat a bunch of queso so he gets sick.
Oh yeah.
I will feed him queso.
Don't waste queso.
That's true.
Maybe
That
his
cat
name
doesn't
is
deserve it.
queso. He's orange.
More like jerk, so.
I know, right? Won't Maytel's pissed. I did have a real shout out actually. There's this podcast I listened to called Let's Not Meet, which is like essentially just like true stories that people write in of like true crime or like creepy encounters, or like people living in your house, like Gary Busey living in your house or whatever. But the host just released this new one called Odd Trails, and it's like essentially the same thing, but it's for like paranormal and supernatural. which like is one of my favorite like genres of podcast or whatever. So the first episode just came out. So if you like that kind of thing, check it out.
I think I've seen or like seen people talk about that podcast a lot. So, or the
Let's Not Meet.
Yeah, the Let's Not Meet one.
So it actually started because there's a subreddit called Let's Not Meet, and so like in the very beginning, I think he was just reading stories that people posted on the subreddit, and now it's like bigger to the point where like he has people just like write directly to him, and then he also has like guests from like other podcasts or whatever. So I really like it. It's just like there's not a lot of podcasts now, I feel like, where there's no banter. It's literally just like the podcast starts, he reads the stories, and like that's it. So if you want something just kind of like straight to the point and you don't want to listen to people talk about they just had a baby and their baby did this crazy thing or whatever, like that's what I really like it for.
What podcast do you listen to? They just start off every episode about having a baby.
Well, and that's why we drink. Christine recently had a baby.
Yeah, you could. That's all you had to say was, and that's why we drink.
Yeah, but she's on maternity leave. So this month, Eva, who is like their assistant, has been doing her guest spot. And I really like Eva, and I wish she would stay. But anyway.
All right. Next week, we are doing a movie called Break, about people stuck in a cable car over like a big icy cavernous thing.
Oh no.
From Russia. So we'll see how this is gonna go. It has a solid 1.9 star rating on Letterboxd.
Sounds bad.
Yeah, it's probably not great. But it takes place on New Year's Eve, so it'll fit. And it's not like
New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
That's not Christmas.
Yeah, that episode comes out on December 27th, so it's no longer Christmas.
Okay, true. You got me there.
Yeah. How dare you question my methods here? But yeah, that's on Tubi and I think YouTube, if you will watch that. I'm going to say I don't recommend it, but, you know.
I was going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably not.
You do you.
Yeah.
It's a 2019 movie, so it's probably terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm already regretting it. If you want to support us, you could join our Patreon at patreon.com/IPSufferPodcast. There's things that come in. Episodes at some point.
Woohoo, yeah. Just happening.
What day does this fucking come out? I'd say maybe like 2 or 3 days after this comes out. Probably an extra episode.
Trick or treat. I mean, Merry Christmas.
Katie is going to talk about a movie starring Goldberg.
I sure am.
Big E's going to be on the episode too. Spoiler kit. No.
Damn.
We didn't invite you because we figured you did want to talk to Goldberg.
I'd be nervous. I've talked shit about William Scott Goldberg. I don't need him to kill me.
Might spear you through Skype.
I think he could do it if anyone could.
He's pretty old. I saw that Undertaker match in Saudi Arabia.
Christ.
I saw clips from it at least. Where they both just drop each other on their heads.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Couple of mummies wrestling.
I don't know why mummies made me laugh so hard. You can buy shirts at our storefront tier for cheap. Leave us ratings and reviews on iTunes. Tell us your favorite Goldberg match.
Tell us your favorite cat
if
fight.
It's not him versus DDP. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
I'm pretty sure there's been at least 2 good Goldberg matches in that entire career.
I love Goldberg and his matches, but they're Mostly not what would be considered good. Him pummeling dudes for 20 seconds is great, but
Yeah, that was good until he got beat by getting electrocuted.
tasered,
And then
cattle prod.
you just lose that magic of him being the undefeated guy that just beats everybody in under a minute.
Yeah.
Way to go, Bischoff. Probably Vince Russo. That seems like a Vince Russo move.
Yeah, 100%.
You can follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. Listen to other podcasts, 8K Movie Club. Yeah, break next week. And that's it. I don't know. I'm tired and hungry.
Same.
But why?
Yeah. I hope I eat food.
I hope you do too. I hope everyone eats food. Food is delightful.
Yeah, sometimes.
I think I'm having Impossible Whoppers for dinner, so I'm really excited.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Kit, what do you have for dinner?
I don't know. I've got to figure that out.
I'm going to guess spaghetti.
Man, I hope. That would be delightful.
Maybe it's just waiting for
Nice
you
treat.
when you get done.
That would rule.
I would be cautious that Gary Busey is living in your house and making you
Well,
spaghetti.
Gary Busey can make some goddamn good spaghetti.
Yeah,
What do
if the
you-
spaghetti's good. Whatever. That's fine.
He can stay. Yeah.
He can
Let
earn
us
his keep.
know. Let us know
Weird.
if he doesn't snap your neck.
In the kitchen where Kit's robe making spaghetti. All right. I hope you suffer, but why?